There we go. Von now taking it. And we are now having Von to ban first. Waiting here for their call.
Okay, so Vaughn banning first. As said, it could be likely that they... Nope, never mind. They are banning Adagio. Well, Flash X, wonderful play so far on Adagio. So that is definitely a targeted ban against that.
Okay. So, Adagio ban, it's not too bad, and Flash X is just saying Miko is disconnected. A moment please, of course, no worries about that. Everything fine. Just giving here everyone the time he or she needs.
Meanwhile, paying out the glory points to all of the 75% who voted for Ardent Alliance.
Jewel is the ban from Ardent Alliance.
We do have a Jewel ban coming in. Okay, so Vox still open. Vox could be obviously, since it's not now not banned, that's the way you say it. Could be the first pick from Von. Not sure if they will end up doing so.
Yeah, we will see.
And still waiting on the first picks. There it is. It's a Celeste, so keeping the powerful Vox open. Adagio's banned away from Ardent Alliance. We'll see what they are going with now. And man, I mean, almost secured win from Von, actually. It felt very, very secure.
Yeah,
and
it did.
At some point, the power spike came in for Ardent Alliance, and they were just pushing it into the other direction and managed to win the second matchup.
Yeah, so we will see. Ardent Alliance is going for a Vox and Scarf again. Mishi here, available, able to play that super strong Vox, and together with Scarf, that means, yeah, the Scarf going lane and Vox is going jungle.
On the other side, I believe we do have Taka and Kath coming in. But even more interesting, we do get another round of Fortress. That is super cool. I personally am a big fan of Fortress, and already said to Blue in between, I am definitely going to pick up Fortress more frequently after seeing NA picking Fortress so heavily. And especially we do have Fortress now sitting again together with 2 Crystal Mage. As we are loading on to the Halcyon Fold, we will just jump into a short little trailer and then hand it over to Tasty Bacon and Valdez.
Shatter the Vein, a podcast about vainglory.
Welcome everybody back to the Halcyon Fold for game number 3 of Ardent Alliance versus Von. And Ardent Alliance already up 2-0, and they've been left the Vox pick again. Maybe a crucial mistake, or maybe they feel like they've figured it out, but we're gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. They did decide to go for this Taka, but Taka Catherine, not the best level 1 fight, and they're going to be running directly into the Vox Fortress, which is so much stronger at level 1. Here they go for the combat. Flash X taking a lot, but they're focusing Phoenix down, and that's could be a bit of a mistake as they do end up losing Fortress here. But now I Love Joseph going to be trying to chase down Von C. He didn't have that bleeding on him, but he got a little bit of a move speed, and then there's the Sonic Zoom to try and catch up, just looking for another auto attack or two. The Sonic Zoom not going to have the Radiant still on them, so it will be, or Resonance, sorry. So it will be Taka able to escape, and now I Love Joseph maybe in a bit of trouble here, but Von C, yeah, Von C can't be the one to go for this flank to try and pick up the kill. So it does end up being an even 1-for-1 trade. But already 200 gold in favor of Ardent Alliance. That's pretty surprising for this early on.
Yeah, just small victories here and there. You know, Scarf get a little bit of extra farm. Vox pushing him back, getting 1 or 2 extra creeps or minions in the jungle. And here we go again. They were waiting in the brush. They were being so aggressive. You called it, but the double core collapse stun is going to push them back. But again, you called it. Very early team composition. We've seen this before, Vox and Fortress. I think the last time Fortress was played, it was with the Vox. And it's a really nice composition to start off the game. And we're seeing that even now.
Yeah, especially with the Adagio taken away. That is going to be probably your next strongest level 1 with the Fortress able to put out some solid damage. Of course, Ardent is also very strong in this situation, but he's more about keeping the jungler alive, whereas Fortress more wants to try and kill the enemy jungler instead.
Oh, yeah.
So we are going to be seeing another potential fight here in the bottom of the jungle. Nope, everyone is going to back off a bit instead. But right now, it's already up to a pretty sizable CS lead. 10 CS in favor of Mixi in the lane. Not sure how Von E is going to be able to... I mean, it's been like this every single game for Von E, falling behind in CS. We saw it in the semifinals, and we're seeing it now in the finals, as there are going to be a 3-on-3 fight, but it is going to be Von picking up the kill early on. Von C getting into the team, just continue chasing them down with that Kaku. Is going to be taking a lot of damage, though, here, as I Love Joseph is getting in with Phoenix. They get the stun onto I Love Joseph to try and save Von C. Will he be able to get away? Scarf, the Spitfire, not quite connecting, and that will be Von C able to recall just barely.
Oh man, that was a big failure of communication. I think Mish or Mixi, or I think it's Mish, I guess people were saying, but he didn't know that Taka was going into the brush. You could see him going in there. Vox was going, hardcore onto that Taka, trying to kill him, and he was getting so low. But we do have the gold mine now trying to be taken here. Catherine trying to go in for the steal, but no, does not get the steal, but will be able to get out as the Catherine that she is.
If it is Mish, I don't like the silent C, so I'm going to keep going with Mixi, personally. Until I hear otherwise from Mixi themselves, I'm going to keep saying Mixi, but it is going to be, or a representative of Ardent Alliance. I'll accept that as well. But we are going to be seeing them trying to collapse around Von here. Von does have the 2-to-1 kill advantage. They're still down by 500 gold, though, as they are going to be duking it out in the lane. Von E getting some serious damage down, though, onto the Scarf, and will be picking up the solo kill. Great job by Von E.
Yeah, doing a pretty nice job, getting very low at the same time. But we do see the other 2 members of Ardent Alliance going very deep now, trying to get this kill onto Von C, but it doesn't look like they will be able to. We do see that last Sonic Zoom coming forward, but the Taka just doing immense amount of damage here in this game. He had a very big early game, and now he's really being able to snowball this into a very sizable amount of damage and kills for his team.
Yeah, really picking up a nice number of kills here. 5-to-1, picking up a tiny gold payout from the gold mine. 94, 96 gold. I didn't quite see what the exact number was, but they are going to be taking a small gold lead back from Ardent Alliance. Of course, they had a lead most of the game in Game 2, so you don't know how it's going to end up. They do get some big stuns onto Mish. That is going to be a kill picked up for Von. Taka grabbing that one. 4-0-1 on this Taka. That is exactly what you want if you are Von C.
Yeah, I'm going to be able to pick up that tension bow now, and it looks like they're going to begin to push this turret very, very hard. doing a bunch of damage. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to take it down here. No more minions, but they're going to commit to it. Even a core collapse coming down here, but okay, there it goes. Just barely. One last supernova, able to take it down. Vonnie is not done just yet. And actually going to turn around here and go for a big solar storm onto what looked like Fortress, but just not doing enough damage, kind of being caught out of position there after taking down that turret.
Yeah, 6-2 now is the kill differential, but Ardent Alliance going to take out the gold mine. A tiny gold payout for them as well, but both teams really wanting the extra map control that having that gold mine does provide. The fan vote is in for this game 3. 95% of the viewers think that Ardent Alliance is going to take this one home in a 3-0 sweep. Only 5% have faith in Von at least pulling one game off of them. So if it was up to the viewers, then I mean, I personally would be voting for Von to win just because I want to see more games between these two teams. But realistically, after the way these last two games did go, I have to be personally leaning towards Ardent Alliance as well. But Von is off to an extremely strong start here.
Yeah, I mean, you got to lean towards Ardent Alliance, just especially because they got that Vox pick again. Von was essentially like, oh, you know, whatever, take Vox, we don't care, we like Celeste better, it's all good. And, you know, as you said, they're off to a pretty good early start here with this Taka really working out early game. But, you know, we'll see if they'll be able to continue with this pressure. As we saw in the last game, even playing from behind, Ardent Alliance was eventually able to come back with a lot of lane farm and have a very farmed up Vox just do unbelievable amounts of damage towards that end game.
Yeah, there is going to be a bit of a lull here as both teams start to play a little bit safer, but they are going to be backing off and now probably going to have a big fight. The Solar Storm only going to just barely clip, and that's not going to be a very effective ultimate as they go in for this fight, but they will be going in onto I Love Joseph, getting one kill there. A ton of damage coming out. The silence from Catherine will secure a second kill as they collapse onto that. Only Flash X able to get out alive. Now they're going to try and take back the gold mine once again. They are fighting over this gold miner so incredibly hard. Flash X is going to try and interrupt this, but they're just going to turn all their damage right onto him, and that's going to be another kill. 9-2 now for Von, as Von C is going ridiculous.
Oh yes, doing huge amounts of damage now. Tension Bow, another 6 sins picked up, and you really just can't stop him there. That was also a questionable move by Flash X. The gold mine was targeting the Catherine, so not really able to burst down the Taco, even with the minion candied gold mine, but just a desperate play, didn't work out, and once again, they're going to have to try to play from behind and hope on a hero Vox carry. So we'll see how that works out for them.
All right, so I have been glancing at the Twitch chat every so often when there is a lull in the activity, and I did happen to see that it was in fact one of the primary leaders of Ardent Alliance that said it is pronounced Mish. So much to my chagrin, I will reluctantly refer to Mixi as Mish. But we are going to be seeing another potential fight coming out. There goes the X-Retsu onto I Love Joseph, and it's huge amounts of damage coming through from the Solar Storm, picking up the kill on to I Love Joseph. Now Mish is going to be the one going down. Flash X is going to be able to recall in time, but they are going to pick up now an 11-2 kill lead, a 3,000 gold lead. Surprisingly small lead for being up by 9 kills, but for 11 minutes, I think 3,000 gold is rather large as they're going to increase that even further with the turret being destroyed, and now Von is just doing incredibly well.
Yeah, the reason these fights are working out so well is just Fox is not farmed up enough, and Taka is incredibly farmed up. So he's getting these fantastic engages on top of Vox before any silences get off. Fortress is not the best, honestly, at protecting this Vox. We were talking about it before. You know, Adagio does get banned out. You go to Fortress, you want a very, early pick. He's going to do a lot of damage. You can chase down heroes really easily once you get the advantage, stuff like this. But once we hit later game, Fortress is not nearly going to be as useful. And here we go, another team fight coming in. Mish gets jumped on, Scarf goes down instantly with a big stun and silence, and the X-Retsu coming out of Taka. Now, I Love Joseph all alone, easily going to go down. 400 damage will knock him out. And Fortress alone, not going to be able to defend the base too well.
Yeah, the turret is very likely going to fall. Flash X doing what he can to defend it, but it does go down. That's the third turret picked up. 13-2 in favor of Vaughn. Not going down without a fight here as they extend that lead up over 6,000 gold in their advantage. This is just a huge showing from Vaughn this time around. Vaughn C going massive on this Taka. 9-0-2 is his score line. It's going to be really difficult for them to shut him down. And I think the big difference is the lack of stuns coming out from Ardent Alliance this time.
Yeah, they don't have those stuns. They don't have that tanky front line for the Vox. It's a very different composition, and this is definitely a later game composition as well, but I feel like Vaughn is doing a fantastic job of trying to end this early. They're putting so much pressure onto the turrets of Ardent Alliance. They've already taken down all the lane turrets. They've gotten some of these minion mines, now just one of them, and they're continuing to take all of the jungle farm and consistently pushing the lane as well. Just waiting for that Kraken to spawn up. Probably going to take that as soon as it does come up, and then just try to end the game somewhere around 15 to 18 minutes ideally. If it goes towards 20 minutes plus, I mean, it's going to get a bit scary with both Scarf and Vox on the opposite team.
Yeah, looking at the builds, Vox currently has a piercing shard to go along with that alternating current, obviously building towards the Broken Myth. And Mish went with the Shatter Glass first. We've seen this build a couple of times now, but they are going to get the immense gold payout and immediately pushing their way into the base of Ardent Alliance, just trying to clear out these scout traps. The first time we've kind of seen a whole lot of scout traps being placed in a base to try and defend. So Ardent Alliance, we've praised them before for their ability to defend and extend these games into the later stages. But Vaughn, they really need to start backing off here because Kraken's going to be up in 20 seconds. And as you mentioned, they really want to pick that up as soon as it spawns. But Vaughn taking a decent amount of damage there, but is going to be able to heal up off the jungle camps. They need to be looking for this Kraken as it comes up in 5 seconds. I believe that's exactly what they're going to do, taking out the jungle camps on their way to make sure that there's nothing for Ardent Alliance to pick up to try and get back into this game.
Yep, they're just going to go for the buy here, and no doubt just going to go straight for this Kraken. Well,
or not.
This is very interesting.
When they have vision of all three members in the base, that was an absolutely free Kraken. I don't understand why you don't take that.
I guess it's just because they feel like with Scarf and Vox on the opposite side, and even the Fortress, they can burst it down very quickly, and it's not going to be worth it. But I feel like it almost would be. It's a very close call. It's a very safe call, I'd say.
Even
but
if
at the
you
same
only
time,
I feel like even if you only get one of the base turrets, it's still worth it because the base turrets are so difficult to siege up, especially, like you said, they have the Scarf and Vox. They're just clearing out these minion waves instantly. You need this Kraken to be able to push in against this team. So, really poor decision, I think, from Vaughn not grabbing that.
yeah, I think the only way they would make this decision is if they feel like they could seize the turrets, but now they come in here and they try to do it, which is obviously that's what they thought they could do, and they're like, oh, wait, no, it is a scarf, right? Oh, yeah, we're not playing against someone else like a Jewel or something. I don't know. It is actually a scarf on the opposite side. So now they're just backing off and still not going for the Kraken, just going to farm up some more of this jungle.
Yeah, Taka's gonna grab this minion mine, I think, maybe over here. Or, nope, he's not even gonna do that. What are they doing, Vaughn, right now? Like, you need to make this call to take Kraken. And it looks like Vaughn, he wants to do it, but they just haven't started it up yet. They're just wasting time and delaying, and this is exactly what Ardent Alliance wants them to do. They're absolutely playing into Ardent Alliance's hand, letting them defend, letting them farm up. This is terrible, terrible decision making from Vaughn here. And I hate to harp on him so much for it, but this really is just a horrible call.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be party bushing here, just waiting for someone to push out of the base, but Ardent Alliance is too smart for that. You see them, they don't even move outside the lip there. They just stay inside, very safe. They take wave after wave of minions and get more and more farmed up, and there's still no Kraken, still no pressure. They're essentially just letting Scarf and Vox get really, really strong, and I'd say Ardent Alliance have a decent chance at winning this game now.
Yeah, unless Vaughn decides to take this Kraken very, very soon, which they still aren't doing it. I don't understand. I really do not get it. But, I mean, the one saving grace is you look at the side of Ardent Alliance, Taka's the one who's super fed, and there's not a single piece of armor on that team.
Yeah. I was thinking about that earlier, actually. I mean, Taka does do a decent amount of magical damage as well, but when he's building Tension Bow into Sorrow Blade Bonesaw and no defensive items, which, usually a decently standard build for Taka is, Tension Bow into Atlas Pauldron into, just some more defensive items, reflex block, etc. But the fact that he's going so offensive, I would like to see some armor at least. But regardless, we're seeing Vaughn come in here again and realize once again that they, yes, in fact, are playing against a Scarf. And just gonna back off again. It's interesting because we see Celeste from time to time move over to that Kraken and like do a bunch of recalls in front of it as if she's saying like, hey, this isn't my decision, I want to do the Kraken. Like, yeah, my team doesn't.
Ardent Alliance has literally, like, they've taken maybe 2 steps past this third destroyed turret in the past 4+ minutes, and they just haven't even touched this Kraken. They're still not doing it. What is going on? They have full vision. They know for a fact that Ardent Alliance is in their base, all 3 members, because these minions are providing vision, and yet they're still just walking around the jungle. If Vaughn loses this game at this point, it is entirely their fault.
Yeah, I mean, they're just going back and forth from the shop to the front of the base and, buying infusions, finishing items. They're farming at the same time, but not nearly as much as Ardent Alliance due to that minion mine. And of course, they're not 100% efficient taking all of the minions because sometimes when they're going back to the shop, they miss a wave. Stuff like this. So, just continuing to pressure here a bit and not really going to find too much damage at all.
I mean, you do have to give some credit to Ardent Alliance for the amount of patience they have. To be able to sit in base for over 5 minutes without even looking for an engage takes a massive amount of self-control, but it's what they're doing. It's what they have to do, and it's how they're going to win this game if Vaughn is just going to hand it to them like this. I am so completely baffled as Vaughn goes and clears the jungle again. Maybe this time will be the time that they do the Kraken. Maybe, just maybe, please, just take the Kraken. Oh my goodness.
They really don't have any other options to ending the game anyway. Like, even if they didn't want to take the Kraken and somehow in their minds they're like, hey, once we get to full items versus full items, we're going to be better than them. they're still not going to be able to end the game just because of how defensive Ardent Alliance is playing. So their only option really is somehow someone on Ardent Alliance makes a big mistake, comes outside of the base, which they've shown for the past 6 minutes now that they're not going to do, or they take the Kraken and attempt taking a turret. Because even if they are worried about giving away 500 gold from the Kraken each, they're still giving away more than 5 times that amount of gold by wave after wave of minion mined minions coming down the lane. So again, we continue to harp on this point, but really it's the only thing going on in this game, and it's kind of baffling at some points.
I mean, there's one Spitfire hits Von Z and takes off a quarter of his health. They're just honestly falling behind at this point. I mean, they still have the gold lead, but I'm so confused by this decision making from Von. I do not understand this whatsoever. I'm really just left speechless. There's not really much more we can say about this because it's been going on for 7.5 minutes now, and there's only so much that can be said. I mean, what else can we talk about at this point because of the fact that they're just letting this happen? They're not being aggressive at all. And I think, it almost looks like right now that Ardent Alliance is trying to bait them in by waiting to kill out these minions, but no, they're just, I guess, trying to have some fun with it. And Vox ultimate use because why not? It's going to be back up in 30 seconds. Like, there's...
Now's their chance. This is what Vaughn was waiting for. Oh, man. I guess there is one other line of thinking. Because they control the entire jungle, they can get all of the jungle camps as well as some of the, the lane minions. But even that, we've gone over it. It's not as efficient as getting all these minion mined minions coming down your lane. So, I mean, we've seen that from Vaughn anyway. They are getting all the farm from the jungle, and they are getting incredibly farmed as well. But I don't think they're ever going to be able to take a fight against these turrets and against how farm Vox and Scarf now are.
Yeah, this is... They do finally get a minion wave partially in, but it's instantly cleared out. As per usual. And, finally a Heliogenesis hits. Maybe, nope, not going to be the ghost signal. I'm so confused. I really, really am. This is just absolutely bad. I mean, I've never seen this before. In any game of Vainglory that I've played or watched, I have never seen a team sit here and stall for almost 10 minutes now.
I mean, this is part of the reason why Kraken is part of the game. Like, from
exactly.
Just from the game standpoint, they put this in to allow this big objective. Once a team gets far enough ahead, they take the Kraken and they use that to end the game because the Kraken is strong enough. But
so I could quickly jump in since we are listening to this and we are watching this as well, and it is not caused by any issues. It is no lag whatsoever. Both teams have totally smooth connections. Actually, it is just Von being afraid of picking Kraken and not sure if they're strong enough to push it down. Not sure, and I'm not. I would say they are at the moment. And on the other side, Ardent Alliance, they don't want to step out because they don't want to do a mistake. So both teams don't want to do mistakes and are dragging this game just further along. So we will need to see who in the end is doing a mistake.
And at that point, once again here to jump in, welcome over 1,000 viewers watching the third match of the best of final. It is the Vainglory League. It's the North American finals here. And yeah, very, very interesting stuff going on. And there finally Catherine is going in, and I will hand it over to you guys, hopefully for a fight.
Oh, here they go. They're gonna chase it in. The Solar Storm comes through. The wait for it is in the complete wrong direction. This could be finally the fight for Bond. They get one kill. and they are slowly whittling down this turret. Flash is going to go in. He's going to go down, though, and the flaming goop is... No, actually, Flash is going to survive. This is a disaster. Phoenix is going to get focused here. Von C trying to take down Mish, but Phoenix is going to fall. Mish will finally go down. It's Von C and Flash X, but Von C goes down. That is an ace for Ardent Alliance. What in the world is happening in this game? Oh my goodness.
This is what happens when you give Scarf 10 minutes to farm lane, wave after wave after wave after wave. This is what happens.
Oh my goodness, I don't understand. That is just, I mean, again, credit to Ardent Alliance. They did exactly what they had to do. But Von, being afraid of pushing with Kraken, maybe, now, yeah, maybe they can't do it. But 10 minutes ago, 11 minutes ago, absolutely. How do you not take that Kraken when you are up 13-2 at 15 minutes with 3 turrets already destroyed? I do not understand this. And,
well,
oh my goodness.
There's, of course, as we did hear from Don John and Blueberries, we heard the reasoning, and there is a ton on the line for Von specifically. Down 2 games, they're trying to play essentially the perfect game because they wanna get 3 games in a row. They want to get the big prize money. They want to go to Korea, qualify for this league, and it may end up costing them the game. Just them being way too careful, as you said before. We'll have to wait and see what they decide to do from here. I mean, I think they still could take the Kraken because it does seem like Ardent Alliance still wants to continue with their very passive game, also citing their reasons were that they're kind of scared. They were behind, of course. Their reasons make a lot more sense.
Oh, absolutely. And the problem is now, after losing that fight, is Von just going to play even more passive? Because now they're going to, how can they not be even more afraid of this? I feel so bad for Von right now because of the fact that it really is entirely on them. I mean, they had the opportunity to finish off the game and push us to a game 4, but now I really don't know if they can still finish it. I don't think they actually can at this point. They got 1 turret about 2/3 of the way down, but that was it. And it's looking very grim for Von at this point now.
Look at Ardent Alliance right now. The 3 of them are sitting in the base. They're not even moving to outside the turrets. I mean, they have to think at some point that they'll be farmed up enough. Just looking at Mish right now, he's on a full build, double Eva Harvest, Broken Myth, Shatterglass, Journey Boots, and an Aegis. They have to think at some point, hey, we can win this game. We have the ultimate late game comp outside of that fortress. We've got Scarf and we've got Vox, and we can do this. So I would have to hope that eventually they would be the ones to take the initiative and move outside the base and, slowly try to find some kills.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Von is hoping for. But again, they've spent over 15 minutes now in their base without moving. This is a very big wave coming in. They may look to do something off of this. We'll have to see. This is going to be so crucial as the minions are crashing onto this turret. The turret's getting taken down pretty heavily. A big crit onto it, but they're backing off, looking for the fight. Wait for it, goes out, but a huge solar storm comes through, and this could be the game. But no, it's getting turned around. Ardent Alliance are going to very likely pick up this ace. Phoenix trying to run away desperately, but all 3 members of Ardent Alliance are still alive. 30 minutes in means that these death timers are massive, and Ardent Alliance, they now know for a fact that they are going to win these fights. That was a perfect fight for Von, but they stalled and waited way too long, and now Ardent Alliance being decisive, taking this Kraken. This could very well be the game. My goodness, I'm just...
I'm glad that this game actually happened. I feel sorry for Von, but I'm glad that this has happened, because for anyone who hasn't seen this happen in solo queue, who hasn't played against something like this, this is the result. You see Scarf gets hit by a core collapse and the solar storm in the face with the Taka on top of him, and he still doesn't go down. He turns around with double Evo Harvest and burns everybody to the ground with the Vox to support him as well. So note to everyone, you know, double infusions as well put on every single person on that team. They were really going for that big fight. Note to everyone, you know, they were given way too much gold, and this is what happens.
Yeah, and this is why, you know, you can't just delay for 15 minutes. A big Solar Storm gonna come through, though. Oh my goodness, Flash is going to get out, but here comes Misha and I Love Joseph picking up a kill. Kraken is still working on these turrets. They can't even kill Mish at this point. They do get one, but it's traded, and it's only Phoenix left alive. Phoenix cannot defend this. It's going to be Ardent Alliance picking up the victory. They do get Flash X down, but Mish is just too strong. Kraken takes out the turret. Kraken is taking out the base. The crystal is going to shatter. Mish does finally fall, but it doesn't matter. Ardent Alliance is going to be your North American Vainglory League qualifier champions after 31 excruciating minutes.
What a fantastic game to end it on as well. Just unbelievable play from Ardent Alliance, just knowing exactly what they needed to do. We were talking about it, and I guess Vaughn just wasn't catching on, but I think they got the picture once again they got a really good engage towards the end there. But Mish, he just turns around. He doesn't even run at this point. He just turns around one Spitfire, and he's at full health. And it's like, okay, well, I don't know. We can't kill him. And then, of course, with the Kraken coming down, it ends the game. So Ardent Alliance, unbelievable. Going to be joining Gamers 2 from Europe, coming over to Korea. And I'll be glad to greet them once they do.
I'm literally sitting here with my head in my hands. I feel so bad for Vaughn, but again, at the end of the day, they have no one to blame but themselves for that. It was just